Ta-da! I am here 4 hours later than usual. This is Yin Yang in California with Morsels of a Thought number 1807. We are here every day, actually getting ready to take the action that creates virtue. We're bringing more virtue into the world with morsels of a thought of wisdom. Wisdom, hopefully, that we learn the right things to do for that brings value to mankind and to ourselves. And people that are wise get to say what we're reading here, because since I myself am not wise, I have to speak through other people speak through me. Yay. Okay, mistakes. This is George J. Chanos, former Nevada Attorney General, Millennial Samurai. Book 1, A Mindset for the 21st Century, Chapter 105, page 219. A person who never made a mistake never tried anything new. Mistakes. That was a quote. Albert Einstein, German born theoretical physicist. A person who never made a mistake never tried anything new. Okay, so I do have a mistake. I have right now. I need to find those earrings I want to wear because I just feel naked without them. And I'm dressing essentially right in front of you. It's terrible, I know. But I need them on. So please forgive me. I am putting on my earrings because hopefully we learn the right things to do. I need to put them on. You should see me at 10:05. You should not see me at 10:05. Um, I have a hesitation to talk about other people's lives, but if they put it into their book, then it means they want it to be read. Dr. Chanos says, we all make mistakes. We lack the ability to be error free, but we can try to do what is right. And it is by constantly trying that we build over time our characters and our reputations. Having great character does not require that you never make mistakes. Yes, I had a mistake I made one time when I was in charge of a food distribution. I've told you this story more than once already before, but I accidentally looked at well, I mistakenly remembered that a woman was behind another woman in line, and when she got her eggs, I grabbed the eggs back. And that was a mistake that I had to apologize for the following day. I think it was the day or 2 days afterward. I saw her and I said, Mecca, I made a mistake and I need to let you know your name was ahead of Nina's and I shouldn't have grabbed those eggs from you. She gave me the greatest hug after that because she actually went through a lot of stress. What happened was I grabbed the eggs and then I accidentally held her finger too long. And so she twisted her finger on her way, pulling her hand back. And she said, you twisted my finger. You watch, you watch out, girl. I will knock the Asian out of you. Oh, goodness. She was upset, and I know it. Actually, so the virtue came from admitting my mistake. Having great character does not require that you never make mistakes, says the author. If it did, no one could be said to have great character. Instead, it requires that you work hard to avoid mistakes and make good choices. Each person, so my lesson was I shouldn't have grabbed the eggs from her. I should have looked at the list again. And even if I hadn't, I should have yelled at her rather than grab. Each person that you deal with will, and I would have had to yell at her, but apologize to her again. Same way. Anyway, back to the author. Each person that you deal with will judge you based upon his or her own personal standards and experiences with you. Some may require less of you, says the author, others may require more. Like toxic people always require too much more, right? And you have to get them out of your life, right? Your character, says the author, and your reputation will constantly be assessed by others based on your words and your deeds. Your mistakes will be evaluated based upon their nature and your intent. Innocent and trivial mistakes may offer some insight into your character, but are unlikely to significantly impact your reputation unless they are ongoing. More significant mistakes or errors in judgment, especially those that are intentional, can say a great deal about your character and can have a profoundly negative impact on your reputation. In the final analysis, you can't control what others think, so you shouldn't allow yourself to be defined by the standards of others. Now, this is a very difficult part I'm going to pause to talk about. What I found out the other day was that I was always upset over a certain person who was not treating me well and who accused me of falsehoods and unjustifiably uh, told people that I had done something that I hadn't done. And I was very upset every time I thought about her. I said, oh God. But then my therapist said, guess what? So I found out that I had been defining myself by the other person's standards. Okay, the author says, be defined by your own values, your own standards, and your own sense of character. Have high standards and demand more of yourself. Yes. We all make mistakes. People with great character simply make fewer of them. Their mistakes are also normally unintentional and less significant. Given that you are bound to make certain mistakes in your life, it is important that you know what to do when that happens. We are reading from George J. Chanos, Millennial Samurai, Book 1, A Mindset for the 21st Century. Hopefully that we learn the right things to do and we get an algorithm that helps us to judge our lives and use our wisdom in ways that are good and beneficial to mankind. Okay, so back to the book. Having great character requires that you admit your mistakes. It requires that you do whatever is necessary to correct your mistakes. It requires that you accept responsibility for your mistakes and graciously accept the consequences of your mistakes. To do otherwise only compounds your mistakes and evidences a serious lack of character. And sometimes people don't get consequences, but that doesn't mean that you have to do anything about it. That's my thinking. Part of accepting responsibility for our mistakes includes apologizing to those you have hurt or disrespected. Be honest and humble. Admit when you're wrong, acknowledge your mistakes, and always be willing to apologize. Now, I have to tell you that when I had to apologize to that person, I was actually really surprised to find out that her name had been first to the other person. And I think it was somebody else that pointed it out to me. And I said, oh my gosh. And I realized it. And in that realization comes a piece of your character. Something, a big lump comes up from your heart into your throat. And you go, oh my gosh. And some people want to swallow that lump and say, damn it, it didn't happen. But doing that creates trauma in your body and your brain. So I shouldn't use that word really. I should say it creates a disturbance in your character and your self respect. So you do have to apologize. And when you realize it, you have to accept it, as he says, graciously. Okay? Now, the author continues, most people are by nature very forgiving. We believe in second chances. We want to forgive, but In doing so, we expect those who have made mistakes to admit their mistakes and to accept responsibility for their mistakes. This is hard. This isn't easy, but we have to do it. Never allow your poor handling of your mistakes to say more about your character than the mistakes themselves. In other words, never make it possible for people to say, oh my God, that person did something wrong and didn't care. Never allow that. Instead, says the author, use your mistakes as opportunities to show the true substance of your character by immediately owning and accepting responsibility for them. These are critically important concepts. Successful people understand and embrace these core values. Moreover, most of them expect that the people they work and associate with, both personally and professionally, embrace these same core values. Regardless of your social or economic condition or circumstances, when you practice these core values, others will respect and admire you. You will build lasting and important personal and professional relationships. Conversely, failure to adopt and practice these core values will undermine and or preclude such relationships and lead to failure and despair. People are gonna judge you, and other people are going to dissociate from you before you ever knew they were going to probably associate with you if they hadn't heard about your mistake. That's what I think. The author says, a person's reputation is his or her most valuable asset, which is why I went and sued somebody for slander one time. I won. Anyway, it can take a lifetime to build and only a single poor choice to destroy. I got in the way between him and a partner. Build your reputation by practicing these core values and guard and protect your reputation zealously. Nothing you possess will ever be more important. Because think about it. If you die today, what are people going to think about you? What are they going to say? Are they going to miss you? If they're not going to miss you, you've got something going that's very wrong. Stress. Chapter 106. I don't worry about stress. I create it, says James N. Mattis, Mattis, former United States Secretary of Defense. Stress, says the author, not only has wide-ranging effects on emotions. I am very sorry about that. That is, are we back yet? Yes. Okay. Sorry about that. Stress not only has wide-ranging effects on emotions, mood, and behavior, it affects systems, organs, and tissues all over the body. It activates the nervous system's fight or flight response, which releases adrenaline and cortisol. These hormones make the heart beat faster, raise blood pressure, change the digestive process, and boost glucose levels in the bloodstream. Some people even vomit. Stress triggers tension headaches and migraines. It can bring on panic attacks. It can lead to heart attacks. Stress can kill. When people use substances as a coping mechanism for stress, eventually their stimuli response pattern, that is, stress equals drink or drug, becomes hardwired into their brains and their life. That's a horrible thing, honestly. Therefore, it is important to recognize and guard against these maladaptive patterns of behavior. Some professions and activities can produce more stress than others. Law.com surveyed 200 lawyers about substance abuse and mental health problems in large law firms and asked them to speculate about the causes. When asked to rank Possible causes for substance abuse and mental health problems in firms. The overwhelming majority of the overwhelming majority of respondents, 79%, cited stress and workload as the primary culprit. According to the 2016 American Bar Association Hazelden Betty Ford study on substance abuse and mental health disorders in the legal profession, the self reported lifetime prevalence of depression among attorneys, 47%, is roughly 2.5 times higher than in the general population, 17 to 20%. This is due to the chronic stress in the profession, as well as the lack of healthy coping skills to deal with stress. I think that just by breathing heavily, not heavy, breathing properly, you can bring more virtue into the world by allowing yourself to understand that sitting down to breathe in and out slowly, deeply, evenly, and slowly, deeply, and evenly. I can't remember the rest. Back to the book. According to the survey, the factor viewed as the next most likely cause of substance abuse and mental health problems in the legal profession is a reluctance to acknowledge or discuss the issue, followed by a lack of support for personal well being, social and cultural influences, and toxicity within the profession. If depression in the legal profession is twice that of the general population, what is the prevalence of substance abuse, depression, and mental illness among other high stress professions like law enforcement, finance, or politics, which have some of the same or similar influences? Be alert to the relationship between stress, substance abuse, and mental illness, and seek treatment immediately if a problem develops. I hope I've inspired you to think about your character and to continue. Chapter 107: Find Opportunity in Adversity. John F. Kennedy, 35th President of the United States, said, "The Chinese use two brush strokes to write the word crisis. One brush stroke stands for danger, the other for opportunity. In a crisis, be aware of the danger, but recognize the opportunity." Ooh. Hmm. We all encounter difficulties in life, says the author. Often these difficulties create or reveal opportunities. It may simply be the opportunity to learn from a mistake. It may be much more. Look for the unique opportunities that adversity often creates. Think of the gang member turned rapper, author, or consultant, the alcoholic turned counselor or motivational speaker, the scientist or entrepreneur whose early failures reveal the path to success, the entrepreneur whose failure in one area leads to success in another. Haha. Always look for opportunities to grow and prosper in adversity. Learn to see problems as opportunities. When life gives you lemons, make lemonade. He really, really says that. And next, never quit. Chapter 108. Ted Turner, founder of CNN, said, "You can never quit. Winners never quit, and quitters never win." The author says, "Candidates in Navy SEAL training can quit at any time. Those who quit are required to go to the center of the training compound and ring a brass bell 3 times. On the first day of training, an instructor will tell the recruits that his goal is to push them to ring that bell, but he'll also tell them, if you quit, you will regret it for the rest of your life. Quitting never makes anything easier. Airbnb went for 4 years unable to secure more than a minimum of funding until it ultimately received over 100 million in funding. In 1997, when Steve Jobs returned to Apple, a share of Apple stock would barely buy you a cup of coffee. Thomas Edison is said to have failed 10,000 times before inventing the light bulb. Edison famously said, "I never quit until I get what I want." It was only after Abraham Lincoln had lost 2 runs for a senatorial seat that he ran for the President of the United States and won. Just because you stop doing something doesn't mean you're quitting. Sometimes it takes vision and courage to know when something is not right and to stop and walk away. I have an example. In San Francisco, when the Golden Gate Bridge was being built, there was a man who fell off. As he fell, there was another man who saw it, turned around, walked on that bridge home, and never turned back. He stopped. He didn't want to fall. He didn't want to die. He knew somebody was dead. And he decided to stop. He didn't look for anything else. He just looked forward to home. To stop and walk away. Letting go doesn't mean you're giving up, and stopping isn't always quitting. Sometimes it's a conscious choice that allows you to move in another more promising direction. This guy was walking toward life. Sometimes it's the right choice. In our win or lose society, we reject quitting and celebrate perseverance, but life is more nuanced than that. Isaac Newton failed miserably at being a farmer before he ultimately found a career in science. He wasn't good at farming, but he was a genius at science. If you're trying and failing, it may be that you're not trying hard enough, or it may be that you just haven't tried the right thing yet. Don't give up on yourself or your goals just because you've failed in one area or even several areas. Every time you try and fail, you learn something new. You learn more about yourself, about life, and about your own strengths and weaknesses. You gain valuable insight and experience that can help you succeed next time. So keep trying. Try something different, and don't let past failures keep you from your future success. So, taking the magic action, this is what he calls magic, is going to help you. And it's also going to bring us virtue into the world. Ikigai. Ooh, this was short. Let me see if there is another short one I can read at this moment. Not really. Not really. There's nothing that short. Drama queens. We have drama queens. Drama is a distraction and a waste of time. That's what he says. Avoid drama queens, people who thrive on drama and chaos. They are emotional vampires, and their narcissism and or insecurity drives an insatiable need for attention. They don't advance others, they impede them. There is only one place for drama: in theater. The theater. In all other areas of your life, avoid it. So we know that now. Never quit. Never quit. Okay, so next week we will start on negativity and forgive and don't worry. Okay, well, this is a good book. I would highly recommend that you look for it online. It is Millennial Samurai Book 1, A Mindset for the 21st Century. And this actually is a lot of wisdom that'll give you ways to create virtue. Okay. I can't say enough that this is a wonderful book. He has these life experiences that are just amazing. And he was the attorney general of Nevada once or twice, or I don't know how many times, but anyway, he really deserves my place in morsels of a thought of wisdom. Okay, talk to you later. Old Kinderhook. Bye bye.